Acknowledges the Hawaiian side of my family, my mother's music that she loved to teach us. And for years, like many island children, I just considered myself a Hawaiian child. If I didn't pass the mirror too often, it was not confusing. But I am half Portuguese, and like many of you who have Portuguese blood perhaps, grew up not knowing very much about it. Actually, when people would ask me anything about being Portuguese, I would use my mother's trade answer. She would say, "That's your father's fault." But in 1983, Pamela Young from KITV called me up on the telephone and said she was doing a mixed plate special in Portugal. And she wanted to know if Santos was a Portuguese name. I thought somebody was playing a joke on me. So I was tempted to hang up until I realized that the voice did sound correct. And I said, well, yes, it is my surname of my family. And she said, I'm wondering if you'd like to do a mixed plate special with me in Portugal. And I thought, well, I'm really not the right person to do it. As I said, I grew up in Waiahole amidst Japanese, Chinese, Filipinos, and Hawaiians. There was a couple of Portuguese, but most of them I was related to. Went to school at Kamehameha, so the Portuguese was really there in the background. My grandparents on the Portuguese side of the family, my father's parents had died long before I was born. But she said, you know, this would be a perfect opportunity to tell a story that so many people are a part of. I said, well, what do I need to do? She said, 2 weeks, all expenses paid. In mainland Portugal, we will go to Madeira, we will go to the Azore Islands, and if you'd like, you can write a song along the way. I said, I can do that. I can do that. So I called up my oldest sister, I'm the youngest of 9 children, and asked her what she knew about the family history. She had some papers that were in Portuguese. We took them to the Portuguese festival down in Kapi'olani Park. And the kind people there were nice enough to read all those documents to us and tell us who we were and where we came from. It was all there in the societies that the Portuguese immigrants had formed when they came to the islands. I had a snapshot of my grandmother when she was a young woman. I think around the time she was married. And I carried it with me on the trip thinking that it would give me inspiration. And certainly it did. So I'd like to share with you a song that came about from that wonderful adventure. Your harbor is come. In the morning sunlight, you feel safe and warm. Did you feel that way too? 100 years ago, when as I said, this song was written at Ponta Delgado Harbor in the Azore Islands on the island of San Miguel. I found out through those documents that my grandfather had been born there in the Azores at another little island on the coast. My grandmother had been born in Madeira, and at different points in time their families had migrated. The ship they came on, the city of Paris, left Ponta Delgado Harbor and arrived in Kona, Hawai'i in 1883. My grandmother was 6 months old when she arrived in Kona. So while she was a woman of Portuguese ancestry, she was raised as a Kona girl. As she came to life, she married someone, again, from Portugal, and made their families in the plantation system that at that time were a part of these islands. They went from the big island of Hawaii to the island of Maui, here to the island of Oahu, where my father was born, and finally ending up on the island of Kauai, where they lived out their days working at a plantation on the west side called Makue. And in tracing those little steps, we realized that they took a very perilous journey, a very long journey, to hope that the generations that would follow, like me, would have other opportunities and good things. They shared their blood, sweat, and tears working the lands in these plantations. And on Kauai, my grandmother was a midwife. She helped to deliver children of many colors and many races. To become part of the fabric was to make up our Hawaiian children. And so, I wrote this song for her. I never knew you, but for the first time, I am looking at life through my grandma's eyes. I never knew you, but for the first time, I am looking at life through those eyes. Her name was Andresa Freitas, and she was my grandmother.